Hey everyone, welcome to Bootstrapping Tools. I am a guy called Joe, and this is part 4 of our app building journey with Retool and using Google Sheets as a backend and then SendGrid as our email service provider. Now, in the last part, what we actually did was we hooked up SendGrid so that we can send emails through our Retool app. What we're going to focus on in this section is cleaning it up and then making the use of modals. What are modals? Well, modals, you ever like click on something on a website and then a little thing pops up, or if you're on your phone, like a mobile app, you tap on something and then like a tray pops up and you do everything in there, and once you're done, the pop-up goes away or the tray goes away. Oh, that's basically a modal. And it's really useful for you to use modals when you have like content heavy or interaction heavy areas in your application that you want to hide away but make available when the user chooses to interact with that section. So let's actually go over to our app here. This is where we left off. We had a rich text editor, and then we have a send email button or a submit button. Now, there are a couple of sections here that I think would be really good for a modal. This is just like best practices for your UX. I think the plan type, we don't necessarily need to have the plan type as something you can edit right here on the screen. Maybe you do, and it's really up to you. And then the email for sure, though, is something you probably want to just like hide away so that you can fill up this information more of a providing information or knowledge for the user, and then having the actions occur outside of this. So what we're actually going to do here is let's open up our tray, and what we're going to do is we're going to search for a modal, and this over here, we're going to add this right. Let's put this here for now, and then we're going to name it send an email as the button action, and then we're going to name it as email modal. Okay. So now that we have this, close when clicking outside, sure, why not? That's totally fine, we can do that. On open, we're not going to do any queries. On close, we're not going to do any queries either. And what we're going to actually do here is when you click on that, it's going to open this up, and we're going to take this, we're going to copy it, open this, and then we're going to see, can I copy it in here? Yes, perfect. Okay, so now we have a modal in here. And then we're going to, here, actually, yeah, you can stay on top there. We're going to take this button, take it, we're going to copy it, we're going to open this modal back up, and then we're going to place it in here. Let's make this a little bigger. Drag it down to the bottom of the modal. And the same thing goes for this. Let's just make this a little bigger. Give ourselves a little bit more room to work with. Okay, so now that we have this, we actually don't need this guy anymore, so let's delete that. And then we're going to take this and then also delete that. And then we can place this on the bottom. You see, not everybody's screen is this big, so let's actually go ahead and make these guys a little smaller. All right, so now we have the send email button. Let's put this in the bottom. I think it makes sense for us to do the same thing for the plan information. So that way nobody fat fingers this and then ends up setting up your user as a different plan than they should be, and then they end up getting billed at the end of the month for something they shouldn't be billed for, and then everybody gets mad. So let's add this over here, another modal. I'm going to take this drop down, copy it. I'm going to open up this modal. We're just going to place it in here. We'll drag this out. I'm going to take this. Actually, can I drag this in here? Oh, look at that. Even better. I don't have to copy and paste. I learned something new. I hope you learned something new as well. Huh? Right, let's make this larger. And then same thing goes for this guy. We'll drag this right in here, and then we'll make them larger. Okay, so while we're at it, let's also make sure that we are doing best practices, and we're going to say save changes here. That way, the whole reason for the modal is so that people don't fat finger things. So because plan types, that's something that could affect billing. You want to just double confirm is usually the best practice here. Save changes. Okay, and then our drop down over here, actually I think on select, do any of that stuff, right? Okay, good. Good. So it looks good. And then what we'll do here is this stuff is awesome. That makes sense. Okay, so we'll leave that as there for now. We're gonna name this modal plan modal. Okay. And then close when clicking outside. So we'll exit that. And then let's actually not call this open modal. We'll say change plan. So instead of doing this version of it, we're actually going to use a text label. Where we're doing text. And that's just because we have text for everything else. We should do the same thing. So let's actually take our notes. We're going to add our notes down here. And we're going to make our notes a little bigger. No, we can't. That's okay. So we'll leave our notes here. That way there's a little bit more room for it to grow. If we say we want to do, can we add in, how many rows is this taken? Yeah, there we go. So then people can see all of the text. What's it say? Let's say it's like that. Okay, there. So we're not going to do plan type like this. So we're going to delete that. We have to update this later, but that's fine. I'm going to delete it. And then for this, we're going to say plan type colon, and we're going to say selected. But is that table one? Table one, select row dot data dot plan type. Okay, so that's now enterprise, and then we can actually bold this. Using that. Okay, we could make this prettier, but that's fine. We'll just leave it like this for now. And then let's move this button closer to it. In case we want to change it, we can make that button a little smaller. Let's actually put these guys next to each other. Okay, yeah, I think that looks good. Looks fine. So got the lead status here. So we're kind of doing this whole thing where like information on the left, actions on the right. I think that's pretty good. This is a little large though. If we made this smaller, what would happen for the buttons? The buttons are just close. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Make it prettier. Nah, it's fine. We'll leave it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do here is we gotta update all of our code, our queries. So let's open up the tray again, pop this up. Remember the plan types. Oops, something we gotta save. Make sure you save everything just in case it breaks. So if you remember our plan types, use this, plan status options, using all of that. The plan amount though changes. So instead of the drop down, what we're gonna do is we have the plan modal, and then within the plan modal is what we want to do. So the way that you will actually reference the plan modal and the information within a modal is you go ahead and we're going, what do we call it? Plan modal dot, and then it's going to give you all the information that it has in there. So what we want to do, where'd it go? No. And where is it? Oh, sorry, not that. Drop down to that value. You just reference it normally. Sorry, I don't know why I thought the other way. So plan types, you also do that. That's still the same thing. So we can save all of that. And let's make sure this works. So even if the plan changes, it'll do all that. Okay, so remember, this is not actually changing the value. I don't think it's changing the value, at least, because when we select it, there's actually no queries that are working. We only have an update status one right now. So what we want to do is we want to link the save changes over to this information so that we can change the plan type for this particular user, or this lead, this account. So we have save changes. What now we're going to do here is, let's go back over to the query, close out the modal, we don't need it anymore. And then we're going to take the update status, and then we're going to duplicate this. You could do it all in one, but let's keep it separate just to be safe. So we're not doing too many crazy updates at once. We're going to do update plan type. That's the name of this. And then we're going to say selected row. That's not what we want. What we actually want it to be is drop down to that value. And then this is going to be plan type, because that's what the field name is. Oh, sorry. Back up. What we're going to do is duplicate this, rename this to update plan type. So we're filtering by the full name. You want to leave that there. So that's the selected row. That's good. We want to do it over here. Plan type. And then we're going to say drop down to that value. Okay, that looks good. Save it. Yeah, I thought I updated this already. Plan type. Update plan type already exists. Hold on. Refresh. I think Retool tends to cache a lot of things sometimes, so it might actually already be there. I hope not. Okay, let's try that again. Update plan type. There. Okay. Now successfully saved. We have drop down number 2. So let's actually rename this this field here. So we can say select plan type would be the name of it. Select plan type. And then when we hit enter, this should also update the update value in our query over there. Hit enter, and then boom, updates that. This is still remaining the same. This is the spreadsheet we're still updating. Everything looks good. I'm gonna leave it there. And let's actually reorganize here so that everything is there. Since there was a caching issue, yeah, that's what I thought. We have to update this. So it's going to be select plan type that value. That makes sense? Yeah. Okay, so we saved that. Okay, and then the default initial state value is the plan type for it. That still looks good. And then on select, we're going to do nothing. However, this button change, we're going to update this. We're going to say save plan type changes. You can name whatever you want. They're really up to you. And then we're going to do on click, run a query. We're going to run the update plan type query. Okay, that looks good. So now let's make sure we're doing this right here. So Enna, let's find Enna over here. Enna is our first row, currently set to an enterprise plan. So let's say in theory, if we wanted to update Enna's plan, we open it up. You're no longer enterprise, you are downgrading to an elite plan for $79 a month. And we're gonna hit the changes. Once that runs, update plan successfully ran. This all updates, refreshing the information. So now it says elite, and then now when we come here, we expect it to say elite, and it does. So let's try that one more time, just for sanity. And change this back to enterprise, and hit the save button. Once that finishes updating, everything else is going to refresh. And then the Google Sheet, we expect it to also update, and it did. All right, perfect. So now we have a modal for it, which is awesome. And then besides this modal, we also have the send email modal. So we should test that one as well. actually close these. Actually, before we close it out, we actually have to update it. So let's open this up, and then we open up the email modal. This rich text editor is back to 1. We're going to call this email body. And then the submit button should say send email. And that still runs the query send email, which is exactly what we want. And now we check out our send email query over here and make sure it does everything we need to do. So email body, let's see what it says. It says text, which is good. It's exactly what we want. All right, so let's test it out. All right, so we come in here, go to whoever, let's say Ronald. I'm gonna hit the send email button, send an email. I'm gonna say, send email through a modal. That's our text. Let's make sure the rich text editor works. We'll bold this. And then we'll say email is in italics. And we'll hit the send email button. Email successfully sent. And then we can check our email over here. So we're using that. Send email through modal, and it's got the bold and it's got the italics. But so that's basically it. That's how you use modals. You can use modals for basically anything that you want. I would say use modals whenever you can to kind of unclutter your UI. Of course, don't use modals everywhere. I mean, you know, there's a little bit of too much versus too little. So just think about it. Think about what's best for your user. The best practice I like to say is if it's a separate action that is outside of the context in which the user is looking at. For instance, you know, in this general tab, it's about information. So sending an email could use some of the information in there, but it's a completely separate action or goal from a user that's like coming to this page. They're not looking to complete an action when they're looking at the general tab for information. So you can use a modal for them. It's just a good way. You use your own judgment for that. It's really all about, you know, what your users want or what is most convenient for you. Maybe you like having it there, which is completely fine as well. But I hope you found this useful. This modals are great, and Retool has a great and easy way for you to use modals. You can drag and drop things inside of them, as well as, you know, hook that up to any of the queries or APIs that you've already connected to your application. If you have any questions or you do run into trouble, please don't be shy. Go down to the comments below and then leave a comment, and we'll, you know, try to respond and help you out wherever we can. If you did like the video, please hit the like button so that other users like yourself can find this video and find use out of learning about Retool and Google Sheets and SendGrid, and combining all of those, as well as the best practices that you can have when building an application. This is part 4. There are a couple of more parts coming along for this series of building an app on Retool using Google Sheets as a backend and SendGrid as your email service provider or your ESP. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get notifications when the next parts get released. But by the way, this has been a pleasure. I'm a guy called Joe. This has been Bootstrapping Tools. Let's build together, and we're out.